Hello my buoys! Christmas has come early, I've got my own Christmas present. Here he says Paratard, also known as Sam Smith. Shall we see what's inside? Let's. Oh, it's a bit difficult to open. Wow! So it says Bailey, from Bailey Aviation of Cambridge, England. Wow, it must be my new Paramotor I bought. Yes, let's have a look inside. It's a Bailey SuperLite.
I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about. Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about? I can tell you what Christmas is all about.
Chestnuts roasting, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. So I'm offering this simple phrase. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Chestnut roasting, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. So I'm offering this simple phrase. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
I can tell you what Christmas is all about.
Although it's been said many times, many.
So I must interject here. This is the second time I ever started this Paramotor, and what I'm about to do is pump petrol in by squeezing the throttle. It has a little pump on the carburetor, and that acts as a choke. The way I start this is horrific, because you don't need to bend forward like that. And now I've got it off to a T, it just starts the second pull.
Ways, Merry Christmas.
That's what Christmas is all about.
Indeed. So this is Ermintrude, my new Bailey 210cc 4-stroke engine, 22 brake horsepower Paramotor. Bailey been making 4-stroke engines since 2004, so this engine is now on its 5th revision, although Paul Bailey told me, in actual fact, though they were called, the last ones are called version 5, this one is completely different to version 5, so I suppose we could call this version 6 perhaps. So although the 4-stroke engine is more complex, it vibrates less and runs cooler than a 2-stroke, lower RPM, and it's a lot quieter also, so hence more reliable. So why did I buy it? Well, I thought about buying a Bailey for some time because so many people I've met love them, the reliability and the low fuel consumption. And of course those are going to say, well, it weighs quite a lot. Well, it weighs 27.5 kilograms. But when you compare with the fuel consumption of a lighter machine, suddenly when you want to do a few hours flight, the weight starts to even out. So on one of those days when it was too windy to fly, I went down the airfield and I did a few comparisons. Here I am trying to record the sound of the engine, and we'll see that in the conclusion at the end of the film. But I also actually put a scale up against a wall, and I revved them both up and did like 10 readings of each one at full throttle to see kind of what the thrust was. The odd thing is, the results were, I think the Bailey was about 5% less thrust than the Rodeo, and I really did expect it to be significantly lower. I thought it was like 30%. So I was really surprised, because the Rodeo is actually a 200cc two-stroke engine, Semolini engine.
Warning, the next scene may bore some people. If so, skip to 10 minutes to see Ermentrude fly for the first time.
Okay, so let's have a look at a spreadsheet which I use to compare the fuel consumption and the overall weight of each machine. On the left here you can see we've got a set of columns for Nirvana. So this is my Nirvana Rodeo. I think that drank about 4 litres per hour.
And again, I must interject here. These comparisons and fuel consumptions are approximated on a similar person of my weight. If you weigh a lot less, you're going to actually burn a lot less fuel.
Then I've got a Maverick, 4.5 litres, be a Monster 185, and I think the consensus was that's about how much that drinks an hour. Now the Bailey, the consensus, and I'm getting approximately 2.5 litres per hour. Of course, this all compares with, varies for the pilot's weight and type of glider. I'm flying a Universal 1.1, 105 kilograms, about 150 all fully loaded. Now, I realise people in the US watch these videos, so in the green column there, I have put in the conversion to old gallons and pounds. Anyway, so they're the sweet spots of what I think the fuel consumption is about for each machine. So, my Rodeo, I often put about 1.5 hours fuel in, maybe 2 hours, but I was happy with 1.5 hours fuel on my back, which was 6 litres, 1.6 gallons. Now that gives me 33.5 kilograms in overall weight, ready to fly less the reserve, which is 73.7 pounds. So I was happy with that on my back. Let's look at the Maverick. Now the Maverick is 25 kilogram machine. Sorry, I'm not sure I explained this. 29 was the Rodeo. The actual machine was 29. So the Maverick is 25, so it's a lighter machine. They've both got the same size fuel tanks. So, because it drinks slightly more fuel, I would have to put 6.8 litres in. So suddenly, the weight differentials narrowed a little bit because it drinks slightly more fuel. So anyway, that was 30.1 kilograms, 66.1 pounds. Now we come over to the Bailey and we do the same comparison. Now, because we're drinking probably nearly half the fuel, we're down to 3.8 kilograms and 1 gallon of fuel. So suddenly we can see now, this now comes out to 30.3, which in actual fact is about the same weight as a Maverick for the same amount of fuel, or the same amount of flight time. So suddenly you go, oh, the Maverick, it seems the lighter. Suddenly everything starts to turn itself on its head when you start adding the fuel as a comparison. So then what I did, these ones that are highlighted here red, I said, well, okay, I was happy with that weight, which gave me 33.35 kilograms and 73 blah blah. If I was happy with that weight, then what would that give me on the Maverick for the same weight? So the same weight for the Maverick is around 2.5, somewhere between 2.5 and 3 hours flight. But if I look at the Bailey, I can actually get 3 hours flight for the same weight of 1.5. This is the overall machine. The same weight. I actually found on the Maverick it's about 2.5 hours. But the weird thing is, because we're drinking less and we've got a slightly larger fuel tank, we can actually go fully laden to 4.5 hours of that fuel consumption, which gives me 36 kilograms, 79 pounds. It's still lighter than when I fully ladened the Rodeo and it was heavy on my back. I mean, I found it uncomfortable. I could live with it. And once you perfect your takeoff, weight, I suppose, becomes less of an issue because you're going to take off. When you're a newbie and things and you're stumbling around, you're sweating your balls off. It's hard work. But anyway, this spreadsheet here kind of hopefully enlightens you to kind of why I thought the 4-stroke was a good option. It's not as powerful, no, but in actual fact, if I want to do a long flight, I can do a hell of a long flight for roughly the same weight of a lighter machine, a 2-stroke machine. And so now to the first launch of Ermintrude. Here she goes. So everything come together quite nicely. It just turned, feeling it, remembering to lean back, give it some power, all under control, and off we go. Trouble is, the sky looked pretty grey, so I just did one circuit, landed, and it started to rain. I just got on the ground just as it started to rain. Yay! A few days later I managed to get a reverse launch in, and it was just superb. Everything went superbly well. Brought it up, stepping backwards, turned, leant back, no rushing. Oh, look at that. Off we go. Into the sky. And then followed by a really good forward launch on a superb evening. Just giving it some throttle here to create some wind over the wing, so when it comes up it's just going to pop into the air. Zoom in slightly there, and up she comes, going over to the left. We feel it, we move, we brake right, and we stabilise it, give it full throttle, and off we go. Oh, I was so pleased with that. I just kept watching that over and over again and just thought, I finally made it. I can fly into the sun. In conclusion, what did we learn? I don't know. No, but seriously, I do know. Many advantages with this Bailey. A lot of parts are common, all those little fiberglass struts that make up the frame, and the actual base of it itself are all the same carbon fibre parts, so they'll be easy to replace. Carry one spare if you break one of the frame or the base. The crumple zone, as Del Sanchez calls it, common parts, cheap and easier to repair. Of course, we discussed low fuel consumption makes up for its weight. You can fly this damn thing for about 4.5 hours, maybe even 5 hours if you get a little bit more out of it. It's just crazy. Comfort is very, very comfortable.
And again, at this point, I have to interject, because I actually tried on the Bailey V5 and V4, and this machine sits on your back far, far better, and is far, far more comfortable on your back than the previous models.
And in actual fact, the fact that the engine isn't turning so fast, it seems to cut down the actual torque effect. There's offset J-bars as well. It flies very, very nicely, very straight, and there's not that continual twisting which there was on the rodeo. I don't know whether 2-stroke, because the engine's turning probably twice as fast in terms of revolutions, maybe that cuts down a bit of the torque. It's got a lighter prop on it compared to my rodeo as well, so that would make a difference. Low hang points, I've got great weight shift, that's very nice. Noise, yes, we recorded the noise earlier, let's compare. So here we have the Bailey at idle. And now the rodeo, which, as I say, is a 2-stroke. It's actually quite a quiet 2-stroke. And again. So that was at idle. Now let's go to full power. Now, of course, this was kind of from the perspective of the actual flyer. I'm not so sure at the back it makes a great deal of difference. Certainly when I'm flying, I feel, especially on descent, that I can hardly hear the engine. Anyway, what have we got here? The Bailey at full. And 2-stroke at full. So you can make up your own conclusion on that one. Also, another great feature is it's really quick and easy to assemble or disassemble, and it fits very compact into my boot space. The Nirvana had a 4-section kind of hoop frame around it, and that takes up a hell of a lot of room, so that's a great advantage also. Hopefully this was part one of maybe another video I might do on comparing the climb rate when it's run in. I might put a future video out, and in the description below I shall list any of those future videos and a few links to the Bailey website, which hasn't been updated since 2013. It's quite incredible, but I'll also put their email address if anybody's interested in contacting them.